I'm now joined on the Sports Mix by the head coach of Musselman football, Brian Thomas. Coach Thomas, your team falls 20-0 at home to Spring Mills. Just give us a recap on that game.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't do enough to get the job done. They outplayed us in some aspects, and when that happens, that's the result you're going to get.
Looks like a defensive battle I see here for Spring Mills. Bradley Butts had 2 rushing touchdowns in the game as well. On your guys' end, though, what did you like from your team defensively?
Yeah, we played well defensively. I thought we held them. We held them for most of the game. They had a couple big plays that they scored on, but for the most part, defensively, I thought we played really well. We had 14 in the first half, and one of those was just on a big play where they threw one over the top and got one. And in the second half, we really clamped down, really stopped them in the second half. Their last touchdown at the end of the game, they got the ball in the red zone just because we had to go for it because we were down 2 scores and, had the ball with a couple minutes left. So, the last one, we held them for the most part other than that last touchdown. So, I thought our defense played very well.
Offensively, obviously didn't put any points up on the board, unfortunately. What about Spring Mills' defense is so tough to figure out and get going for them? Because it seems like it's always been the case for teams here over the past few years. Obviously, everybody knows their shutout streak that they had last year for a little bit, and then here this year sitting at 3-1, and all 3 of their wins were via shutout as well.
Yeah, I mean, we had chances. Right to end the first half, we got tackled. We busted a long run and got tackled on the 1-yard line, and couldn't punch one in right before half. So, we had a chance to make it. It's not like we were held to 0 yards. We moved the ball. We had some good plays. We had a chance to punch it in before half to make it 14-7. We didn't. We come out in the second half and we throw a 70-yard touchdown that gets called back because, somebody was lined up a couple inches off of where he was supposed to be. So, that got called back. You look at those 2 scores right there. It's 14-14 in the second half. So, we missed, but it wasn't. We missed those opportunities and didn't capitalize off those opportunities. So, I thought we did good things offensively. They're a good football team, though. They're well coached. Their defense had 9 seniors that are starters. So, they have a lot of experience. They have a lot of I guess you'd say, veteran presence. Their defensive line's good. They got a couple of players on there that are difficult to block that can give your run scheme some trouble. So we did some good things, but at the same time, you miss opportunities and, you come away with the final score being 0. That's not what you want.
How much growth have you seen from your team from the start of the season up until now heading into this bye week?
Oh, it's remarkable. It's remarkable how much we've grown as a program really through the past 2 years. We've gotten. You look at all these games. We're 1-3 right now, and you are what your record says you are. We're 1-3. All 3 of the games that we've lost have been tight in the fourth quarter. So we're within striking distance all 3 games that we've lost. So things pan out a little bit different. Each one of those, they can go either different ways. Those games last year, we didn't play University last year, but Wheeling Park and Spring Mills, we lost those games last year by 50 points. So we've made a lot of growth here in the past 2 years, but at the same time, just competing's not what our goal is. Our goal is we want to win the football game. So we've made growth, and I told our team that. I told our team that after the game that, I'm proud of them just because we've gotten better. I feel like every single week through 4 weeks we've gotten better. So we got to kind of continue to have that mindset to grow and to continue to reach new heights here over the past month.
obviously that's great to hear for your program in this rebuilding time, and kind of as you just said, you want these moral victories to become actual victories in the end out on the field. What else needs to be accomplished to get that to be the result?
Yeah, just little stuff, capitalizing on opportunities. You look at some of these games, and we've had situations and scenarios where we could have turned things around, or we could have punched one in or taken advantage of something, and there's times that we haven't done that. So, I think as our experience grows, we're still young. We're still really, really young. We still have a lot of young kids that are playing for us. So, we got some seniors, but at the same time, we got some youth too. So we just got to kind of continue to take those steps and to understand, taking advantage of opportunities.
This week's your guys' bye week as you prepare for Martinsburg to begin the month of October. What are you guys focusing on here during this bye week?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is you want to focus on fixing your mistakes. We want to get better at the stuff that we've struggled at. So you go back and you look at the first 4 games and you figure out, okay, these were our weak points. These were the things where we can grow a little bit. And then, that's when you look at your practice plan. You try to design everything that you're doing that day just based around like, okay, how can we get better at this mistake that we're making? So that's kind of our big focus this week. Bye week's always intriguing and interesting at this time of the year because you have a chance to rest up, but at the same time, you don't want to rest up too much. You don't want to get out of your routine and your rhythm too much. So, hopefully we can kind of find that balance this week of getting after it still, practicing hard, getting better. But then at the same time, at the end of the week, we can kind of come off the legs a little bit and give the kids a couple days where they can really recoup and kind of come back at this point of the season, and they're kind of refreshed. Instead of wearing down at the end of the year, you want to have a little bit of energy to you.
Are you a fan of a bye week in general?
I don't know. Yes and no. I know other states don't do it. I know the state of Ohio, they start a week before us and they don't have bye week. So, you get into the end of October and you're kind of done. It makes the season go by a little bit quicker. It's, I don't know. It makes the season longer with the bye week. At the same time, I think it's good. I know different teams like it different ways. I like ours kind of right in the middle where it's at, just because I think it kind of breaks up the season a little bit. One year we had ours like the last week of the regular season, and I wasn't really a huge fan of that because I thought we lost momentum going into the playoffs. So it's tough, and you can't always decide when your bye week is. If you're sitting there at 8 or 9 games and you got a couple weeks open and, a team calls you and says, hey, you want to play, and that's your 10th game, it's just, hey, what weeks are open? And, so you can't always, you try to pick, but at the same time, you got to take what your schedule kind of gives you a little bit. So I don't know. I mean, I am, just because, right now it's perfect for us because I think we need the rest. I think we need the recoup. I think we need to kind of reset our batteries here for the stretch run of the season. But at the same time, I don't know, the other part of me just says, hey, you just keep it rolling and just kind of go with it.
All right, Coach Thomas, anything else? If not, we'll get to the fun question and wrap things up.
No, I don't have anything.
All right, fun question for this week. I don't think we've asked it, but if we have, maybe the answer's changed. Favorite TV show that you like to watch if you're a TV guy?
Oh, man, I don't watch a lot of TV.
How about growing up?
I don't watch a lot of TV. At our house, usually ESPN's on if anything's on. That's not really a show, but that's the channel that it's on. But I don't know, man. I don't really watch that much. Like, I'll watch Netflix stuff. We'll binge watch shows and do things like that. I don't know if that's the right answer or not.
Anything that you're currently binging on Netflix?
No, during football season.
I understand that completely. Yep.
During football season, that TV does not come on. I am excited for the final season of Stranger Things. My family watched that, so I am excited for that final season that comes out here around like the end of November, December. So, I mean, I guess that's what I'm looking forward to. But other than that, I don't know. During football season, the TV doesn't really get turned on too much.
Gotcha. Appreciate the time, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
See you in person next week.
All right.